What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another retro repaint video. Today we're going to be doing the Kenner Snapper Baryonyx 2.0 repaint, bigger, badder, and better than before. Now, I have done this before on the channel, did it a little differently, went a different direction with the repaint, but today we're going to keep it real simple, real toyetic, and we're going to be using the green Baryonyx from Mattel for this repaint. Since this figure is green, we don't have to worry about painting it. Now, it's not the same exact color green, but it's green and it's going to be able to maintain all of its mobility without having to worry about green paint scratching off. So now if you guys like to paint along with me, I'm going to go over the list of some of the paints that you could potentially use on this repaint if you're going to do it by hand. So obviously the body is green, the head is sort of like a flesh tone red color, and then he's got some off-white teeth, and then of course the black stripes along the back part, and then he has this really bright sort of lime green underbelly. Now, I am going to be using the airbrush just for the underside part, but if you don't have an airbrush, don't worry, you can just dry brush this color on. So I'll be using opaque yellow and Createx candy apple green mixed together to get that sort of underside tone. But if you are painting along with me, then you'll probably want to grab maybe a really nice bright yellow, like a lemon yellow, and this Cloverfield green, and mix them together to achieve that color. For the black patterns on the back, we're keeping it real simple, just using Apple Barrel matte black color, and we're going to thin it down with water, of course, to help with flow, and this will be a nice black match for those stripes. And then for the head, so the head is sort of a red flesh tone color. I've got light mocha and I've got flamingo coral on hand here, and I'll show you real quick. The flamingo coral is a nice match to this, but it is a bit dark, so you'll want to mix in some of that light mocha in there to lighten it up a little bit. But that'll be a great color to use for that head match. And then I'll show you here, I've got the airbrush paints that I'm using. So I've got, so you can see, a lot of yellow and just a drop of the green. And I'm going to mix that together, and then I'll show you here, got a nice match for that underside for the airbrush. So I'm going to throw it into the airbrush, and I'm going to knock out that underbelly real quick. That way that one's done and out of the way. So a couple of thin coats on that because we're doing a really light color over that dark green, so it is going to take a few coats, but we'll get it nice and even on there. And look at that, it's already looking killer. So now we're going to move on to the black stripes. So since I'm playing off the factory green plastic that this figure is molded in, I decided to not try and do the pattern that the Kenner figure has. So instead what I'm going to do is actually outline the dark green pattern that was printed on here, and I'm actually going to color that in black. So I'm going to keep the sort of original factory print that's on this figure here, but we're just going to make it black instead of dark green. So again, just sort of playing off what's already on here. It's going to make it a lot easier. It's sort of like coloring. So if you are not good at drawing, straight lines or anything like that, you don't really want to mimic the Kenner one, you can just sort of color these in and then add the stripes on the tail where the factory paint stops, and it also stops on the neck, so we can kind of continue it up to the top part of the neck. But I'm going to connect the leg patterns to the upper part up here just to sort of tie everything together, and then add a few of the little black dots down the sides like the Kenner figure has, just to sort of pay homage to that one. We're kind of capturing the spirit of this figure. So now we're going to do the head. So the head is that red kind of flesh tone color. So you want to take those two colors that I mentioned earlier in the video, you want to mix them together. You want to sort of mix a little bit of that light mocha into there until you achieve a nice match for that. And then I'm going to use this little brush here and just sort of paint in the snout on this guy, and then try to mimic what it looks like on the figure that I have, which is really faded over time, but again, we're just sort of capturing the spirit of the Kenner Baryonyx. So we'll paint around the eye socket and everything like that, and then sort of try and blend it into the green. Now, if I were using the airbrush, this would be a heck of a lot easier to blend these two colors together, but I want to show you guys how to do it without the airbrush. So I've actually thinned the paint down even more with some water, so it's almost like a wash-like consistency. And I'm going to wash it down over the green section farther down than I want it to be, and then take my finger and sort of scrub it into the green, almost blending it with my finger here to get that fade that I want. And it's just an easy way to do it if you don't have an airbrush, to kind of get colors to fade and blend together. Fortunately, we're painting over the green plastic, so we don't have to worry about scrubbing the green plastic paint off. It's molded in that. But do the same thing for the lower jaw here. Sort of wash it on and then sort of scrub it off with your finger. And that'll give you a nice clean fade and kind of help it resemble the sort of the deco that the Kenner figure has. And I'll bring it in here. I'll show you sort of a side-by-side comparison, kind of get the general idea. It's looking really great so far. So we just have a few extra little details that we got to finish before we're done. So we're going to go in and finish off the black stripes up on top of the head here. We'll go in with some Beachcomber's beige and paint the tips of the teeth so they pop out, and then we'll paint all of the claws on the hands and the feet nice gloss black, and the eyeball as well, since the Kenner figure has a black eyeball, and put a little white light catch in there, you know, just to kind of give it some life. But that is pretty much it for this repaint. This guy is done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found the information provided useful and it has helped inspire your next retro repaint. If you decide to try this, remember to tag me over on Instagram at Ted Brothers and use the hashtag retro repaints, because that's one of the ones that I love to follow, because I love seeing the retro repaints that you guys do. So that is going to do it for me for this video. Thanks for sticking around and watching. Remember, for more Jurassic related content, you know where to find me. Links will be in the description box below. You guys take care, and I'll see you in the next video.